Hello, my name is Paul Lima. I'm your host for MS Warriors Speak. People with multiple sclerosis talk about their illness, how they are doing, what it means to and for them. In addition, we include the definition of MS and some facts and figures about MS. If you want to direct anybody to MS Warriors Speak, tell them to go to paullima.com, paullima.com/MS, and to click on the link to MS Warriors Speak. I'd like to start this video by defining multiple sclerosis. MS is a disabling disease of the brain and spinal cord, the central nervous system, and often the optic nerve. In MS, the immune system attacks the protective sheath, known as myelin, that covers nerve fibers and causes communication problems between the brain and the rest of the body. Hence, the various symptoms, because myelin is missing in different MS patients in different places. There are three types of MS. The three main types of MS are RRMS, or relapsing remitting MS. Symptoms come and symptoms go. They may last days, weeks, months, or years, and they may disappear for days, weeks, months, or years. Secondary progressive MS, or SPMS, symptoms come and they really don't go. They kind of pile on. They tackle you over time. And primary progressive MS, or PPMS, your legs lose their strength. Often your arms do as well. Puts you in a scooter, in a wheelchair, sometimes makes you bedridden. Those are the three main types of MS. Our first MS warrior speaks.
Well, my name is Paul Hiscock. I've had MS for 30 plus years, and I think, it's not going too bad. Compared to some people I know with MS, mine is not too bad. I live in St. John's, Newfoundland, and I'm 57 years old. Well, I guess initially I was diagnosed with relapsing, remitting, but I think now it's more progressive MS. Um, to be honest, I can't get the neurologist to tell me what kind of MS I have. So, I think it's progressive.
Right.
I started with speech. I was kind of slurring my speech. And I felt, that other people would think I was drunk. But, that's the kind of slurring I was doing. But now my speech is not bad. And I found my balance is the biggest challenge now. I got to use a walker all the time. I did use a cane for a while, but I've switched to a walker, and I use the walker all the time for balance. I'm taking Tecfidera right now. Um, People ask me if it's working. That I don't know. I really can't tell if it's working or not, but I think it is working because I'm not getting any worse. I'm sort of level, status quo. When I first started Tecfidera, I was getting flushing of the skin, and sometimes I didn't eat when I took the Tecfidera, so I make sure now I eat and take the Tecfidera with my meals, and I have no side effects now. Just prior to getting my diagnosis, I started my own consulting company in the seafood business. I still do it now, but it's limited because I can't get it around and visit plants like I used to. But I'm still involved. I'm still active. Yes. I was married to a girl I knew well way back, and we got divorced when I got MS. And then I met another girl, which I married, and we're sort of on the fence right now. We're in between living together and divorce. So I think the biggest change for me is I don't drive anymore. So I got to depend on others to take me around, and that's the biggest change, driving. I feel pretty good. Yeah, I can't complain. I would tell my MS not to get worse, so I can live with what I have, but I can still walk, I can still talk, I can eat, I can see, I can listen. So if I could talk to MS, I would say not to make it worse for me. I know some people that can't walk and they need to be in this chair 100%, and they need people to push around this chair. I think it could be a lot worse. So I'm pleased, I'm not pleased, but I'm satisfied with my life. Yeah, I am.
Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hey there. My name is Sadie Curtis. I am 45 years old and I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was diagnosed with MS in December 2017, so just over 3 years ago. Although I did have symptoms for about 2 years before that. I have remitting relapsing MS, so my symptoms come and go, and they can change minute by minute, or sometimes they hang around for days. My diagnosis was fairly quick, thanks to an amazing doctor who had a hunch I was having symptoms, but 2 doctors simply put it down to having a pinched nerve. And then just by coincidence, I was seeing a pain specialist for an unrelated condition, and he was the one that took it seriously and sent me for an MRI of my brain and spinal cord. That MRI showed MS lesions, so then I was referred to an MS neurologist. And she diagnosed me about 18 months later, once I'd had a second MRI showing more lesions and I'd had a second relapse. I'm fortunate that my symptoms aren't too severe. I have a lot of numbness and tingling in my hands and feet. I also suffer from burning feet at night, which is irritating because it keeps me awake. I do have fatigue at times. Occasionally I have blurred vision and headaches. Probably the worst symptom is I have an increase in migraine attacks. I've had them all my life, but they're certainly a lot more frequent now. I've also been aware of a loss of some mental alertness in the last year or so. It does take me longer to process and absorb information. I'm hoping that's something that doesn't progress. I currently take Aubagio as a disease-modifying treatment. I've been taking it for 3 years and I haven't had a relapse while I've been on it, although I have had an increase in brain lesions. The biggest side effect of this medication is that I do get very dehydrated. I have to drink a lot more than I used to prior. Other medications I do take a daily antidepressant. It just helps me manage the fatigue of living with MS. It keeps my mood more stable and kind of allows me to keep a more positive outlook on life. I'm lucky that I have been able to continue working full-time. I work as an event rental specialist, and I have an extremely understanding employer, so that really helps. In terms of my relationships, my relationship with my husband, if anything, has got better through MS. I have learned to not be so independent and to lean on him more. He's definitely been my biggest support, and it really does give me the strength to carry on when I know I always have him to rely on and lean on. My daughter was only 6 when I was diagnosed, but she's always understood when I'm struggling and has helped to take care of me. It has exposed her to a lot more than most children her age, which I do regret, but at the same time, it's been amazing to see her empathy for me and her love for me and her desire to care for me. Hasn't really affected my relationship with friends or family yet, but it might change as I progress. Some have been very supportive and some have barely acknowledged my diagnosis, but I think that's just everyone's different. Everyone handles things differently. I do appreciate that people try and understand MS, but I don't think you can really understand it unless you have it. The symptoms is almost all invisible and sometimes bizarre. An example is when I get hot, I feel like I have ants crawling all over my legs, and that's really hard for someone to understand if they've never experienced it. I'd say the biggest change to my life has been I have to remember my limits. If I go on a long hike or a bike ride, I can do it, but I have to remember to schedule a quiet day afterwards because it will wipe me out for a day or two. And then the times that I have pushed myself just too far, I often end up with a migraine in bed for a day or two. So it's just trying to learn to balance my desire to carry on as usual and just knowing my new limits. It's strange to talk about there being any positives to MS, but it has taught me to focus more on today and not so much on the future, which is probably a good thing. I'm also a more grateful person with MS, and I do really appreciate the good days, and I do really appreciate what I can still do while I can still do it. If I could say anything to my MS, it would just be, please be kind to me. And yeah, just to fight MS sounds very tiring. So I try and accept it, accept that this is the new me and adapt, but still continue to do as much as I can for as long as I can. Of course, I dream of there being a cure for MS, but I don't see that happening in my lifetime. I know there's a lot of great research, but there's so many mysteries to be solved before I think a cure can actually be a reality. There's just too much they don't know at this point. But of course, I hope for a cure for future generations. To anyone who's struggling with MS or has just been diagnosed and is new to this, I would say that might not feel like it, but you are stronger than you realize. This isn't the end of your life. This is just a new chapter, and things will change, and it will be hard, and there will be struggles, but it's worth it because there will be good times too. And remember that MS is not you. MS is just a part of you. It's just one part of your life. So try and remember to carry on and focus on the good. And it's hard to be positive, but if you can try and have a positive outlook, I find it really does make a difference to my mental. So yeah, just be strong and carry on. There's a really good community around to support you.
MS is often called the Snowflake Disease. That's because no two people with MS have exactly the same symptoms. Same cause of MS, the demyelination in our brain and our spinal cord, around our nerves, just like snowflakes are made out of frozen water, ice. The cause of MS is similar for all of us, but our symptoms are different. Some people are doing okay until they have a relapse. Some people are progressing downward slowly, some people downward rapidly. MS, the snowflake disease. Everybody with it is different. Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hi, my name's Joe Cornford Hutchings. I am 36 years old and I live in Sussex in England. I was diagnosed just under 3 years ago with relapsing remitting MS, and I haven't changed the type of MS in 3 years. My diagnosis with MS was somewhat difficult. I was on holiday a few years ago and started feeling really sick one evening, went to bed early, and then when I woke up in the morning, I noticed I had a strange blurry spot in my vision, and it seemed to be in both eyes. I just assumed that I'd accidentally caught the sun when I was out and about the day before or something, and did a bit of research on Dr. Google and just assumed that it would go away in a few weeks. It didn't. So I went to the opticians. They couldn't find anything wrong with my eyes, and eventually referred me to the hospital who did lots of tests. They couldn't find any issues with my eyes either, so just told me to come back in 3 months if it was still a problem. It was, so I went back, and again they couldn't find any issues with my eyes, so they referred me for an MRI. A couple of weeks later I had the MRI, and a couple of weeks after that I got a message asking me to come in for a neurology appointment. When I went in, the neurologist showed me my MRI scans and my brain was full of lesions, and I didn't really know what that meant. But I did lots of research after that appointment, and basically she said we need to do a lot of tests to confirm why these lesions are in your brain. She did mention MS, but she also mentioned lots of other things like Lyme disease, and I can't really remember the rest, to be honest, but she really didn't want to commit to any kind of diagnosis at that point. So I had to have lots of blood tests, evoked potentials, which was something to do with my vision and the optic nerves. And then the last thing was lumbar puncture, which was not the nicest thing. They were struggling to get the fluid out, so I feel like I had about 4 lumbar punctures as opposed to just 1, but it was worth it because it gave them the information they needed to confirm the MS diagnosis. I would say the main symptom that I have from MS is fatigue, and I think I used to use that word a lot before my diagnosis and not really understand what it meant. I'd been suffering with this insane tiredness, and I was thinking, why am I feeling like this? It was going on for about 3 years before my diagnosis, and I was like, I feel like I'm depressed, but I don't feel depressed. I just don't understand why I'm so tired. And it turns out it was the MS fatigue, and that's the main thing, that it just sort of changes your life, really. You just have to adjust what you do, how much you do, and how much rest you need, and that takes a bit of time. But I also started suffering with foot drop about 3 months before my diagnosis. I'd been getting quite into running and really enjoying it, and I ran a 10k in the September and it went really well, and then I went to do a Christmas fun run, and I was really struggled. I couldn't pick my feet up properly. I kept dragging my feet along the floor, and it was a really difficult 5k run. Now I understand what it is. I'm starting to look at ways around it and maybe think about trying to do some running again, but we'll see. Other than that, as time's gone on, I've found that I've seemed to be having a few cognitive sort of issues. Sometimes I just can't think of the words I want to find, and I know that's a problem most people have occasionally, but this happens quite a lot, and I've just had to find some ways to deal with that. My memory is rubbish, and I've also been having some bladder issues where I sometimes can't hold when I need to go to the loo and don't quite make it in time, but I've started some medication that seems to be helping with that, so fingers crossed that doesn't get any worse for a while. I started a disease modifying therapy, DMT, just after my diagnosis, really. They had a new neurologist at the hospital, and she was keen to try me on Tecfidera, so I think I was one of the first people in my area to receive that drug, and I've been on it ever since, and fingers crossed I haven't had any relapses since then, not major anyway, so it seems to be doing its job. I also take some medications to help with various symptoms. I use modafinil every day, which helps with fatigue, and I have to take a drug that helps with my bladder issues. I think it's pronounced solifenacin. I started that recently, and I also have baclofen every day, which helps with spasticity in my legs, because I get a lot of stiffness and pain in my calves. The drugs I've been prescribed to help with symptoms definitely helped, and I haven't had any side effects for them. The modafinil has been great for the fatigue, to be honest.
Let's take a quick look at some MS stats. MS is the most common inflammatory neurological disease in young adults. The mean age of diagnosis is approximately 30 years old. There are people younger and older who are diagnosed with MS. I was 42. Every 5 minutes, someone somewhere in the world is diagnosed with MS, and almost 3 million people worldwide have MS. MS touches at least twice as many women as men. Both genders have it. Canada ranks first with 291 cases per 100,000 people, followed by Denmark, Sweden, Hungary, Cyprus, and the UK, and it is estimated that there are nearly 1 million people in the United States living with MS. Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hello, my name is Usarian. I'm 46 years old and I live in Denton, Texas. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis in 2009. I was diagnosed with MS when I complained about a numb spot on my belly to a coworker several days in a row. He insisted on taking me to a hospital to have it checked out, and they admitted me for about a week, exactly a week actually, running tests and ruling out everything else until they finally told me I have MS. My current MS symptoms are inconsistent. I experience mood and cognitive issues. Sometimes I feel weak. I have attacks of extreme fatigue. I have bathroom issues, sexual issues. I experience weakness in my extremities. I have tinnitus, which may or may not be from MS. I've had that, but it's gotten worse since I was diagnosed. I have migraines and a ton of other symptoms that all kind of come and go. When I was first diagnosed, I took Copaxone for a long time. I don't know how long. Then about 2 years ago, I switched over to Ocrevus. I switched neurologists a couple of years ago. My new neurologist was the one that moved me to Ocrevus. Copaxone had a bunch of side effects. Ocrevus really doesn't have any side effects for me. Usually I feel kind of yucky while I'm getting it and the day after, but that's about it. Anyway, I also take Provigil as needed to help with fatigue attacks. It works very well on the days when I need it. I was a computer programmer when I was diagnosed. I'm still a computer programmer today, but my cognitive issues did get bad enough to cause me to lose a job at one point. That was when I switched to Ocrevus. My wife also has an autoimmune disease. With my MS, we kind of understand each other. Um, uh, we kind of understand what each other is going through in a lot of ways. Several of my symptoms do affect our relationship, but not much. My kids that do understand my MS, and they go out of their way to help me do things as much as they can when I'm feeling weak. Or I actually have more friends now because of my MS, because of the MS support group I'm in, than I really ever had as an adult. My parents and my siblings don't really interact with me in any way that would be impacted by my diagnosis. Healthy people could never understand what it is to have MS or any other autoimmune disease, really. Fortunately, we live in an age where, for the most part, people seem to understand more than was common in the past that they don't and can't understand. At least it's been my personal experience. I know for a fact that not everybody has had that experience. But that's been my experience. For the most part, people seem to be aware of their ignorance. My MS has impacted me cognitively mostly, but it's also impacted my energy levels and my strength. the impact is inconsistent. So what MS has really done is make me afraid to do things that I may not be able to finish quickly before another attack. Two positive things that have come out of my MS. My wife and I can understand each other on a new level because of our shared experience having autoimmune diseases. And also meeting other men with MS online has given me friends that can really, across all walks of life and in different fields of work, it's given me people where I have something in common, where we all have something in common, in a group of people to hang out with, even if it is only online. But it's been one of the most meaningful experiences of my life, really. If I could speak to MS, I think I would probably be quiet. For me, my experience has been that basically MS is sleeping. MS can be a lot worse than the way I experience it, and I don't want to wake it up. I don't think that I'm going to see a cure in my lifetime. I think that it's being studied. I think it's being studied very deeply, very well around the world. I see a lot of research. I follow the research. I think anybody with MS follows the research. And I see some really awesome strides being made, but I don't see them being close to actually having a cure, not even remotely. If I met somebody who was just diagnosed with MS, I would say I'm sorry, and I would say you're not alone. And I think that's important because I felt alone, especially when I was first diagnosed. My wife didn't have her own autoimmune disease yet, and it felt very alone. There wasn't anybody. I didn't meet anybody. You're not automatically introduced to other people with MS. And you do feel very alone. Even when you do meet other people with MS, their symptoms are different, and the way they experience MS is different. So meeting a lot of people with MS, like in the support group or being on Facebook pages and stuff, it helps to not feel alone, to not feel crazy, to really feel like this is real, and to validate your feelings. And I think that's critically important for anybody because you can feel like you're going crazy. But yeah, that's me. I'm Usarian and I have MS.
Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hi, my name is Seth Smith. I am 23 years old and I live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I was diagnosed with MS 11 months ago, coming up on a year, April 1st. It wasn't a very good day to be diagnosed, because when you had told your family I was just diagnosed with MS, they all thought it was an April Fool's joke. I was diagnosed with remitting, relapsing MS, and I still am learning about it. So I started having numbness on one entire side of my body, and numbness. Then one day I fell asleep and it was better. Then the other day I fell asleep and the other side was numb. So I went to the emergency room. They said I wasn't having a stroke, so they just told me it's obviously going to be your B12. Just take supplements and you'll be fine. So me not knowing, I said okay. And then I moved in with my girlfriend, and I started to I could not hold my bladder. I'd have bladder spasms, and so I'd have to go pee. But some of you might know how that feels, where you just can't hold it. There's absolutely nothing you can do. Went to an ultrasound and they said, no, your bladder's fine. We don't know what's wrong with you. And then I went to go work for a different company swinging a sledgehammer, and my right arm and my left leg went completely numb, and I couldn't control my bladder. And I'm trying to swing a sledgehammer when I can't even grip my hand. Like, I can't even close my hand properly. And then my first week of leave, I went home for one day and I was talking to my girlfriend, and I kept telling her that this was all still just happening to me. Nothing's happening. It's not changing. So we walked into the hospital, City Hospital in Saskatoon, and this was all at the start of COVID. And this was the last day of March. And the nurse was trying to read me the COVID questionnaires. And at this time, I really had to pee. Like, I was at the point where I couldn't hold it. And she's just kept saying, you know, and I don't blame her or anything, but she had to do her job. But she kept me there, and I actually ended up urinating myself in the front entrance of the emergency room. So they brought me in the back. They tested my feeling for my right arm and left leg, because they were still not good, and my balance became horrible. So they sent me to Royal University Hospital that night, and they put me in a room, in the emergency room, and they did all these tests, you know, cold test, the vibration test, poke test, everything on all my limbs, and seeing the difference in it. The next morning, April 1st, early in the morning, they gave me an MRI, and then that's when the doctor came in and said, you are 100% diagnosed with MS. They said I had more than a dozen lesions. They couldn't even count them all. And then that was the start of the diagnosis, which then led to calling family members and friends, telling them what I was diagnosed with. And since it being April 1st, a lot of them didn't believe me, but you know, a lot of it, I'm just waiting. I'm still waiting for the doctor to come out and say April Fools. I am on the Tysabri drug, which is a really good drug. It's done wonders for me. The only thing was about a month or 2 months after I got released from the hospital, I got optic neuritis and got permanent optic nerve damage in my right eye for certain colors, to be partially colorblind. The only side effects I have on Tysabri is itchiness. It seems like my body has become allergic to a lot of soaps now on the drug that I wasn't allergic to before, and it just makes you really itchy, and it's just horrible. And I used to be a agricultural service technician, but the stress that was from there, I couldn't take it anymore. So now I am a member of ULS Landscaping for snow removal. It is in extreme weather, like we just had -60, and I was fine. But there's no stress to it, and that really is good. And MS affected my family. It hasn't really affected my family at all. I mean, they feel bad for me, which they shouldn't, and they're very cautious when they try to do something nowadays. And my girlfriend, she eventually became a wife this year, so that was one of the best things that happened due having MS, is that I got myself a wife that will always and forever love me. If I could speak to MS, I would just say, get out and talk to someone newly diagnosed. I would say stay healthy, exercise, eat right, and there's just one saying that I have been going by, and it seems to be working, and it seems to be true, is I may be changed by the things that happened to me, but I refused to be reduced by it.
Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hi, my name is Tracy Greer, and I'm 53 years old, and I live in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
I've had MS for quite a while, but was only diagnosed with it about half a year ago when I was getting a lot of pain in my neck. I was at work and almost passed out, so I went on sick leave and met with a clinic doctor, and they decided to do an MRI on my neck. They saw lesions, so they decided to do an MRI on my brain, which showed lesions also. I did 7 MRIs, and a year and a half later, they decided that it was, in fact, MS. I have relapsing remitting MS. I have days where I have hardly any symptoms and other days when symptoms are very apparent. My symptoms range from numbness in my hands and feet, to weakness in my arms and legs, to fatigue, brain fog, to not being able to hold on to something for long periods of time, to banging into things and falling down, and depression, etc. There's a lot more that I can't remember all. I have been taking Lyrica for about half a year for my pain in my neck, but just recently they decided to start me on Obagio. I took it for a few days and was told to stop it because they did not do all the tests they were supposed to administer on me, like making sure I do not have tuberculosis. I will now have to wait at least another month before I can do the test for tuberculosis. I am also taking Zablocone to help me sleep at night, and another pill for depression, don't remember the name. I was working as a bus driver for at least 18 years before I was diagnosed, and I am still driving my bus, and I will until at the point where I cannot function anymore at my job. I have known my boyfriend for 37 years now, and he has seen me with my ups and downs and has found it hard to see me suffering with my mental state and my physical state, and always wondered why I was going through this. I was sick a lot, even as a little baby into adulthood. I was always sick. At times I think he thought I was faking my symptoms just to get sympathy, but now he realizes that it has a name, MS. I was not as active as I would like to be with my boys when they were growing up, but they now understand that I was not doing it to not be with them, but because I could not. My friends always thought that I was a hypochondriac, that I was faking my symptoms, my sicknesses, so that I didn't have to go to school or work. When I recently told them it was MS, I had a few friends that said that you are not as bad as some people I know that have MS. You sure that you have it? I have been following a program online for my mental state, for the last year, and the therapist has decided to give us a project to do on anything we want to do it on. I decided to do it on MS. What I can do to slow it down, what foods to eat, what kind of exercises I should be doing, etc. It is an ongoing project that will last 1 year. So far, I have been getting great information on what to eat and not to eat. I realized that when I eat certain foods, the next day I get some flare-ups, like cheese, a lot of sugar, and too much wine for sure. I also get flare-ups when it's about to snow or rain outside. I get more flare-ups. If I could talk to my MS, I would say to calm down and give my body a chance to rejuvenate with these healthy foods that I'm going to be eating and the exercises I'm doing. I believe there is more that could be done for MS if they could just use 80% of the money they raise to research the brain more. Maybe they could find a cure that would stop the attacks of the melon. I do not know if it will be in my lifetime or not, the cure, but I sure hope it will be. If I could talk to someone who was newly diagnosed with MS, I would tell them to get all the information they could for themselves, all the help they could get, to eat a healthy diet, and exercise to stop the frequency of the flare-ups. Thank you for listening to me. I wish you good luck with your success in your recovery. Thank you. Bye.
Those of us with MS are often called MS warriors. Warrior represents how we battle our MS and its many symptoms. Our next MS warrior speaks. Hi, my name is Paul Lima. I'm 66 years old. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I've had MS for just over 20 years now. I had what is known as RRMS, relapsing remitting, for about 15 years. I now have SPMS, or secondary progressive. In other words, symptoms no longer come and go as they do with RRMS. They come and stay. My diagnosis was fairly simple. I had strange tingles all over my body and bouts of fatigue. My doctor sent me to a neurologist who ordered an MRI and several other tests. When the results came in, he told me that I had MS. It took a couple of months to figure it all out, but I know people who have gone a year, even years before being diagnosed. That's because this is a bizarre disease that manifests itself in many different ways for everybody with it. I haven't been on any disease-modifying drugs for my MS. When I was first diagnosed, there was only one or maybe two drugs, and the potential side effects, to me, were scarier than the MS. There are more drugs available now, but my progression has been slow but steady, and I've chosen to stay off the disease-modifying drugs. I have, however, taken 4 or 5 drugs to combat my current chronic MS headache. They have not helped. I have what is known as a new daily persistent headache. Google it. You'll see there's really no way to combat it. I have a headache right now as I'm talking to you. In terms of symptoms, in addition to my chronic headache, I have some dizziness, and maybe that's motivated or inspired by chronic headache, some loss of balance, degrees of pain in my legs. I wear knee braces to help keep me steady. My feet feel like they're on fire all the time. It's kind of like I have a headache and feet on fire, top and bottom. But I can still walk my dog with the help of a cane, often twice a day. Small mercy, but I can do it. Before my MS progressed to SPMS, I was a freelance writer and business writing trainer. I had to take time off now and then because of my symptoms, but overall I could work at a fairly steady pace. Today I can record this video from the comfort of my chair, but I can no longer write or train clients. The focus and energy required to do so just isn't there. I don't have it, and I loved my work. Besides walk the dog, I don't do much of anything. I have created half a dozen MS video blogs at Paul Lima, Paullima, paullima.com/MS. I vacuum on occasion, I read and watch TV. Okay, and last year I did write 2 novels, Chronic and Jerry. You can read about them at paullima.com/books. See, I can do my own writing, but I can't write for clients because that involves talking, listening, absorbing, and regurgitating. My relationship with my wife, Lynn, has remained solid. Lynn has been beyond terrific. She has picked up the slack regarding domestic duties. She cooks wonderful meals. She understands and accepts that I am limited in my ability. And I love her for it. I don't know what else to say. Our child, Kaya, is 30, lives with their partner, has vague memories of daddy resting. When I had RRMS, I was okay a lot of the time. So my dad-child relationship worked out overall. I've lost some friends because of MS. I just couldn't keep up with them. And I don't blame them. Fine, go your own way. Other friends and my siblings have been great. Before the pandemic, they'd come over for dinner now and then, and they understood when we were sitting around chatting that I'd have to put my head back on the couch on occasion and close my eyes, kind of like recharge my batteries. The biggest change I've had to make in my life due to MS is sitting on my butt doing nothing. I wasn't a workaholic, but I worked hard at my job. I had work that I enjoyed, the writing and the training. MS has forced me into retirement long before I planned on retirement. In fact, it's cheating me of the growing old process. Like, I'm 66, I feel like I'm 102. I don't know what it feels like to grow older. I guess if there's anything positive that has happened in my life due to MS, my fingers and mind still function, as I've mentioned, and I've written 2 novels. That's kind of cool. I've written several other books since I've been sick too. They've been nonfiction books on writing. But I swear to God, I'd return them all to the muses that inspired them any day in exchange for my health. Nice that I've been able to write books. I'd give them back in a minute if I could have my health back. If I could speak to my MS, I'd say, "Get thee behind me, Satan," because it's a devil of a disease. I know there have been advances in medicine from which Big Pharma has benefit, as have some people with MS. As for a cure, I don't think there'll be one found in my lifetime. I'm hopeful for the next generation. I really hope they do find a cure for you folks. If I were to talk to somebody newly diagnosed with MS, I'd say, I hope you have mild RRMS with relapses few and far between and remissions that last a long, long time. Failing that, I hope you're as healthy as you can be. Just remember, you may have MS, but you are not your MS. I know there will be days when it feels like your MS has you, but it doesn't. You are more, much more than that. Much more than MS. I try to be much more than my MS. With that in mind, be as well as you can be. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye now. Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hi, I am answering a few questions about MS, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Melanie Bennett. I am 45 years old, and I live in Wellington, Nova Scotia. Wellington is near Fall River, close to the airport, so HRM, Halifax Regional. I have had MS for probably 15 years. 15 years. I was diagnosed when I was 30. I do have relapsing remitting. That is what they diagnosed me with originally 15 years ago. Though I've had several serious relapses over the years, they have never changed my diagnosis or seen my disease progress into secondary. What symptoms do I usually have? I have bad headaches. I have optic neuritis, so I have some issues with my eyes. Fatigue is a bad one. I have neuropathy, so little to no nerve pain or nerve feeling in my feet, some in my hands, and when my MS has been at its worst, it does attack my mobility. I've lost the use of the strength in one leg and both legs, both hands, and that was probably at its absolute worst. Symptoms that have stayed. I was very fortunate to have a treatment a few years ago that stabilized a lot of my symptoms. What stuck around: fatigue, the neuropathy in my feet, especially the burning. I have some memory issues, which could be middle age because I am 45, but I don't really think it is. And I have developed a tremor recently that we initially associated to medications that I was taking, but once I came off the meds, discovered that's not the case. The tremor's still there. And I do have some feeling of being tongue-tied. If I have to speak very quickly or spontaneously, a lot of times the muscles will not form the words. I know what I want to say, but getting it to come out. My diagnosis 15 years ago was not easy. It probably started like 2 years before that, actually. Anyways, I had optic neuritis in one eye. They suggested I get an MRI done. They said it would be 2 years for an MRI. They threw around MS as like, have you ever heard of MS? Do you know anyone with MS? So I knew that that was in the realm of possibilities. So I paid privately to have an MRI done because I didn't want to wait 2 years to find out what was going on. And they said that there were lesions that came back in that original MRI. But since they had nothing to compare it to, they were going to hold off on a diagnosis. And that's kind of how I floated for almost 2 years. And then my relapse, or my first major episode, happened, and probably within 6 months of that episode, I was diagnosed officially with MS. So I do have to take some medication for the nerve pain that I have in my feet especially, and in my back. I have a really sore back. It has progressed. I have scoliosis. It has progressed because of all of the years of sitting, because I was at one point walking with a cane or a walker, so life was not as mobile as it is today. Not a lot of people know what MS is, and I think it's because there's so many various symptoms. I mean, here's an example. My brother, my best friend growing up, and I were all diagnosed the same year. We all have different symptoms. We've all had different episodes. So it varies so much that actually confuses people, and people like concrete things. And that's the other thing with MS. Sometimes you can't see it, because looking at me right now, I look like a picture of health. They can't see nerve pain. They can't see weakness. They can't see my brain slowing down. They can't see me trying to force the words. They just see that I'm this healthy 45-year-old that takes good care of herself. But there are people in your life that want to understand, want to support, will get educated. Either it's by you or by the internet. That's a scary thing to do. But the ones that really do care, the ones that stick, they do take the time to listen and to learn. If I could speak to my MS, what would I say? This will probably surprise people. If I could speak to my disease, what would I say? I would say thank you. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I really think that this diagnosis 15 years ago, I was a young adult, made me a better person, made me the woman I am today. It taught me humility. It taught me to learn to try and ask for help. It taught me to have patience and to embrace every day, because you just don't know. So, yeah, I would say thank you. I would also say to my MS, enough. Leave me alone and just stay dormant. But I think that's what we would all say to it. Do I feel that there's enough being done for a cure? No, of course not. But that's just because I'm living with a chronic illness. And at Christmas time, my nephew was also diagnosed. So I always wished that his kids and his sister's kids would grow up and not have any idea what MS is, that it was just something that you learned about in health class, that this disease they used to have. And that's not going to be the case. They will know that their uncle and their father and their great aunt and their great uncle all struggled with this crazy illness that hopefully someday will cease to exist. So is there enough being done? No, but that's just because I would like there to be a cure yesterday. If I was to talk to anyone who's newly diagnosed, I'm reading the questions. If I was to talk to someone who's newly diagnosed, what would I tell them? What would I say? Have hope. There are great treatments out there right now, and there are great things that are coming. and just have hope and have patience. Learn to rely on others, and it's okay. As I say that, I'm like, it's the hardest thing to do. Listen to your body. And it's okay not to be okay, because there are days that I just like, I can't be an adult today. I'm really struggling. So it is okay not to be okay, and talk about it. It is not a dirty secret that shouldn't be discussed. This is your health. If you had diabetes, it would be the same thing. You would talk about your sugars and eating healthy and insulin and whatever. Don't make it a dirty secret. And that is actually how people get educated as well. So think about that. Biggest change in my life since MS, I got healthy. I was overweight. I smoked. I didn't exercise. And that's the woman that MS struck down and kicked around for several years. And then really was backed into a corner because no treatments were working. My MS was very aggressive. And I had a chance to have a Limtrata, and it changed my life. And I got healthy and I got fit and I lost 100 pounds and I walked and I joined Weight Watchers and I ran a marathon. So I really decided to take care of me. And that's what MS has done for me. It's not all positive. I'm not, trying to blow sunshine here. Some days living with this disease downright sucks. It really does. And there are days that I really wish that I could just pull the blankets over my head and flick on my TV and watch Netflix. But that's not the case. So, there are days that suck. And then there are days that I get up and I don't even think about being sick. And that's a good day. And I remember those good days on the days that I don't want to get out of bed, when I don't feel my best, when my pain is at its worst. I remember the days that I could get up and I rocked the world. I could go for a walk. I could go for a run. I could work out. I could see my friends. I could scrapbook with my girlfriends. Like, I really took control of my life. And my advice to anybody living with any kind of chronic illness is just embrace the good days. Embrace the good days and straighten that back and go in fighting, because that's the only way you're going to win. Anyways, thanks. Bye.
Our next MS warrior speaks.
Hello, my name is Randy Hewling. I have MS, RRMS, which moved to PRMS, diagnosed September 1st, 2016. My diagnosis was, I guess, super simple. At first, I was losing vision, and then now I'm in a wheelchair. But it took 4 years to get to this stage, which kind of sucks. But here I am, nonetheless. The symptoms I have are numbness, fatigue, tingling, weakness. My whole body kind of is not good right now. I did a song about my diagnosis when I first got diagnosed with MS. And the help I have, I'm on no meds right now for MS. I'm on meds for diabetes, but no meds for MS. I had no side effects for not being, MS. I used to be a graphic designer and teach at the Academy of Art in San Francisco. I was an illustrator, make music. All that kind of stuff got put on pause because of the MS. So I haven't been able to draw for about a year. I make music from time to time because I can still kind of function doing that, but the connection from my brain to my hands, which are both numb and tingly right now, lack of feeling, no bueno. But here I am. I still try to struggle every day. I used to work. I can't do that now. I graduated school in 2010. A little late to the game of school, but Nonetheless, I got a Bachelor of Science in Media Arts and Animation. Now I don't do much. Like I said, I try to work on music. This is what I do. I try to work on music when I can, when my body allows me to. MS has significantly affected the relationship with my wife, because I'm not the, A, I'm not the breadwinner anymore, and B, I don't fix stuff that much because I can't fix stuff because my hands don't work. I can't grab anything. I still try to do it every day. It's harder to do now as I get older, and with the MS, it's harder to go. My kids, having their dad be in a wheelchair and a disability, diabetes, and MS, hopefully it makes my kids more empathetic to people in the future. They're very helpful when it comes to helping me. My youngest kid gives me just walks up and gives me a hug and a kiss and tells me, "Oh, it's okay, Daddy." So that's kind of nice. It's the little things that make you happy. My friends, I have a core group of friends that my MS doesn't seem to bother them. The song is what bugs people because it's the truth. Yeah, what can I do about that? I can't do nothing about the truth. But the relationship between my family, my dad and I are closer than we were before. I talk to my mom once in a while. My grandparents are super helpful and supportive. They mean a lot to me, so I'm thankful for them. And I feel healthy people don't understand. Sorry, I feel healthy people don't quite understand MS. So hopefully that song helps people understand MS better. MS. Let me tell you one thing. MS sucks. There's no, people who say, "Oh, MS is such a life-changing thing." No, it's, excuse my language, but fuck that. It's not life-changing at all. It's life-changing for the unfortunately the worst. There's some things that make it and I guess I wouldn't say enjoyable because that'd be so a load of crap. It's not enjoyable. It's not a fun disease to have. The one thing positive is with MS is it brought me and my kids closer. Someone who's newly diagnosed, I would say every day is a struggle, but keep up the good fight. It is what it is, unfortunately. I noticed that the smallest things are the hardest things to do, so don't take the small things for granted anymore. Try to stay positive as best you can, and hopefully have a good supportive system with you around you, like your family and friends are great, and your kids if you have them. Anyways, my name is Randy Hewling, aka Random Ran. Signing off. I'll check y'all later.
You thought we were done, but we have a book giveaway. To thank you for watching this MS video, I'm giving away PDFs of 2 books. I'll tell you a bit about them in a second, and you can read about them at paullima.com/books. The first book is Everything You Need to Know About Multiple Sclerosis. I'm a former journalist. This is an objective look at the disease. What causes it, how it affects people, what people are doing to fight it. There are no miracle cures in this book. If you email me from the website, paullima.com/books, request your free PDF copy of Everything You Need to Know About Multiple Sclerosis, and I will be happy to email it to you. In addition to that, I'm giving away PDF copies of my novel, Chronic, a sick novel. It's about 4 friends with various maladies, one being MS, the character just happens to be named Paul, one being Parkinson's disease, one being in remission from lung cancer, and one being a chap in a wheelchair. They're living together. They motivate and inspire each other to fight their illnesses and to get on with life. That's Chronic, a sick novel. Again, email me from the website, request a PDF, and I'll be happy to send it to you. Thank you. I think you will agree, based on the look of our speakers, that this is what MS looks like. Pretty little snowflake. However, if you can get into the heads and bodies of our speakers, you would see that too often this is what MS feels like. And if we listen to the song I Got That by Randy Hewling, aka Random Ren, at the end of this video, you will know what MS sounds like. This has been MS Warriors Speak, people with multiple sclerosis talking about their illness, how they're doing, and what it means to and for them. Thank you for watching. If you would like to direct anybody to this video, send them to paullima.com/ms, where they will find this and a number of other videos on multiple sclerosis. Again, thank you for watching.
I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. I got that multiple sclerosis, though. I got the MS from my head to my toes. I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. Woke up slow at about noon. Realized I couldn't even see my damn room. I try to get up before the day begins. My body feels heavy, my leg gives in. My body goes numb, right side goes blind. I need to sit, funny feeling in my legs and behind. Though I'm feeling fine, I'm walking like a drunk. I got that multiple sclerosis in my brain. Makes me feel funny, insane, dumb, and numb. Cause my legs feel weak and my face goes numb. And my eyes goes blind and my arms feel numb. Yo, I can't grip much and I can't grip this mic. That kinda sucks cause I thought I'd come tight. I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. I got that multiple sclerosis, though. I got the MS from my head to my toes. I got that multiple sclerosis. 3 weeks ago, I had an MRI. The doc said, guy, you got lesions on your brain. Not quite sure what you got. You gotta go see another doc. So I went to the neurologist. He said, son, you best have a sit. So I sat and asked, yo, doc, what do I got? He said, son, you got spots on your brain. It's MS, it's messing you all up. There's 4 different kinds, not sure which one you got. He said,
we need a CT scan MRI. Blood letter determines if you're AC negative or positive to decide which man to get you in right now, one day ago.
I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. I got the MS from my head to my toes. I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. He's got that multiple sclerosis.
Really, dude? You don't gotta rub it in.
Results are in, my friend. You got more spots in your spine, combined with the lesions on your brain. It's a matter of time before another attack, so don't sit back and wait. Let's get you on a regimen of meds to control the attack. The pins and needles in your arms or the spasms in your back, the numbness in your leg, the fact you can't grip much. Dragging of your foot, the blindness in your eye, the numbness in your face. If you wait, it'll only get worse. Random Ran, you got multiple sclerosis. I got that multiple sclerosis, yo. I got that multiple sclerosis, though. I got the MS from my head to my toes. I got that multiple